Introduction to Operations Management. In this video, I will explain what operations management is all about so that you have a high-level view of what you will be studying in this class. Let's consider an example. What do a hospital, a university, and a funeral home have in common? Well, all three of these do very different things, but all three of these are organizations that are governed by processes which take some inputs, use some resources, and produce goods and services for their customers. The common theme linking these three organizations are the processes. And you would be surprised to know that some processes are often common across very different organizations. For example, all three of these organizations most likely have a process to produce a forecast for how much demand they will see, so that they can have the resources ready to cater to that demand. These three organizations also represent three stages in the life of an average person. I was born in a hospital. I grew up, I went to a university. I may end up in a funeral home. My life has been a series of interactions with organizations and their processes. If the processes worked well, I was a satisfied customer. If the processes did not work well, it affected my quality of life. Also for organizations, if the processes are successful, the organizations tend to do well. They make profits, they grow market share, they gain a loyal customer base. If the processes tend to have failures, the organizations do poorly. And so processes are inherent and key to the success of organizations and the quality of life that people enjoy. In operations management, we will focus on designing, controlling, improving processes. So this course will enable you not only to improve any organization you work for, but also to improve the quality of life for human beings. Because life is mediated through organizations, and organizations are characterized by processes in how they interact and operate. So let's define operations management formally. Operations management is the systematic design, direction, and control of processes. What do these processes do? They transform inputs into services and products for customers. Sometimes the customers are internal. For example, in a company, you might produce a part that is used by another process down the line. So you might produce a transmission that is then installed in a car. So for the group making the transmission, their customer could be the assembly line group. Other times, the customers are external customers. The company provides a good or service to a consumer. So often in organizations at the last stage, there's going to be some interaction with the customer. They're going to finish producing the product and give it to the customer, or they're going to produce a service for the customer. So internal means internal to the organization doing the work. External means outside the organization doing the work. A process is a systematic series of actions that is directed to some end. By end, we mean there is a goal or an objective for the process. Systematic means there is a design behind the actions. Each action leads you towards the goal. Processes are the heart of operations management. Sometimes when we say this is an operation that does this or does that, or we set up an operation, we also refer to a group of resources and people that are performing one or more processes. So you may have an assembly operation within a factory, you may have a painting operation within a factory, and things like that. So operations management is inherently tied to process management. And that is the key takeaway I want you to take from this video. Let's look at an example. This example will help us understand some issues that are important in operations management. So we have, a box in the middle representing some process. This process takes some inputs, raw materials, components, produces some outputs. Those outputs may go to people or they may go to another organization. Now, if you are managing this operation, what would be important for you with regards to the inputs? Well, you would want the inputs to be of reasonable quality or high quality so that your product does not suffer. You would want to buy the inputs from a supplier that delivers on time. All of those things are part of operations management. So, for example, you'll study quality. You'll study inventory management, which will link to ordering from the suppliers. Then within the operation, what would be important for you? You would want to do this operation efficiently because otherwise your cost to produce the goods would be high, which would decrease your profits. So managing the productivity, the efficiency of the operation, you'll study in chapters like lean management, in process design, and so forth. For the output, what would be important for you? Well, you might think of quality, which is true. You want to produce a product which has certain quality, but also timeliness. Is the customer willing to wait? Do you have to produce the product before the customer arrives, keep it in finished goods store inventory, or do you want to produce the product after the customer gives you the order? Is the product going to be customized or not? All of these considerations will impact how you set up this operation. So just by looking at the inputs that we are going to use, the outputs we need to generate, and what is important to the customer, we get important parameters on how to set up the operation. Also, different areas that you'll study in operations management, like quality management, lean, process design, they will help you to organize the entire process so that you are efficient, your cost is low, your quality is high, you deliver in a timely fashion, and your customers are happy. Let's consider an example. A lot of times when you talk about operations management, people think of factories and robots, but a lot of complex operations are hidden in plain sight. Consider Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World, you might have visited their resorts, or you might have seen videos of their resorts. You might know somebody who's visited these resorts. Often people think of these resorts as an experience for children or for adults, as fun. These are the type of ideas we associate with Walt Disney World. Rarely do you see people thinking about the complex operations that go behind creating magic for thousands and thousands of people every day. The operations in Walt Disney World are actually the key factor why it has been so successful. Anybody can dress up some people in a costume, anybody can launch fireworks, but running a complex set of operations with precision, with cost efficiency, that's what makes Walt Disney World special. So in a typical resort, you might have up to 5,000 maintenance staff and very and detailed processes for cleaning and maintaining the premises. You'll have a lot of things in inventory, and that's not just costumes and food. The inventory for Walt Disney World even includes trees. Sometimes trees die, they get insects, they get struck by lightning. And so for every 3 trees on their premises, they have a tree growing in another location. If a tree needs to be replaced, they can put in a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old tree over a weekend, over a day, without having to wait 20 years to grow a new tree. There may be upwards of 60,000 cast members. Imagine scheduling 60,000 people, their shifts, their roles, what they're going to do, where they're going to go, what costumes they're going to need. And then the way this happens is you never see the back-end operations as a visitor. You never see cast members, wearing costumes, getting ready. You never see inventory move around the resort. Well, why is that? Because underground the resort, there are underground tunnels called utilidors. Utilidors allow the resort to manage their processes hidden from the sights of the visitors. The operations at a Walt Disney World resort can be more complex than many factories. And managing those operations can be way more challenging than managing a factory. So do not be fooled into thinking that operations is only important in factories. Operations is important in all organizations. You can watch this video on your own time to get an idea of how utilidors work and to see some pictures and videos of the operations. Importance of operations management. Operations is the bridge between natural resources and consumption of complex products and services. Without operations management, it would be difficult to enjoy the quality of life that we enjoy, the diverse products and services that we can consume. Every product and service that we consume has come to us through processes embedded in organizations. These processes were designed, managed, controlled by an operations manager. Which is why what you learn in this course will help you in your career, no matter where you go. Whether you decide to work in manufacturing or retail or healthcare or government or NGO, your knowledge of operations management will help you improve the organization you work in, have satisfied stakeholders and customers, have higher productivity and efficiency. This is why this is the most important and useful course you will take in this program. I hope you will enjoy this journey with me.